My coverage of Computex 2024 is brought to you by ANTEC, Asus, Corsair, and G-Skill. To learn more about all their new products, check out the links in the description below. Hey guys, we're at the Asus booth. I'm with JJ. You guys, he needs no introduction. But what does need an introduction is a lot of the cool stuff that they're showing off at this booth. So JJ, take it away.
Yeah, so I know a lot of you guys have probably been pretty excited about BTF, right? There's been a lot of discussion regarding it. One of the first things that we had in terms of people asking us about BTF is how could you even remove more cables from the system, notably from the AIO. I mean, the systems already look super clean, but people are saying, could you reduce it further? So this is a next generation concept. Right now, we have no confirmed timeline as far as when we're going to release it, but we'd love to get your feedback on what your thoughts are. So you see, one thing is that we've really tightly integrated the cable actually length into the actual new design pump housing, but you'll also see something pretty interesting, which is this curved foldable OLED display. So we really want to give you this much larger, kind of more cinematic type of display experience. And I know this doesn't really look attractive, so we're going to swing over right here to the left and actually show you what it looks like in the real world.
Okay.
So let me go ahead and do the unveil, add in the cool hype music.
Let's see it. Oh, wow.
Right, so this is a 6.7-inch 2K OLED display.
What?
And you can see that it just offers a kind of next level experience when you talk about the fidelity, the sharpness, the clarity, because you're pretty much talking about phone level quality, but inside your chassis for this display.
This is
and
insane.
on top of that, it's foldable, so it actually could curve in, allowing you to have some, imagine, really interesting kind of visuals that could flow from one endpoint to another.
Sure.
Right, some pretty cool stuff like that.
That wraparound effect.
One area, what I'd love to see you guys is maybe share your feedback in the comments, is what do you think about the connectors here? So there's a couple of ways that you could play around this. We could go to maybe a more proprietary solution.
Sure.
And offer one singular clean cable, but that of course comes at the expense of maybe more standardized connectors.
Right.
And so both have their benefits, right? Standardized connectors could be maybe you could more easily replace it, you can customize them, different colors, but if you went with a proprietary solution, it might be super clean, but it would also be proprietary, right? Looking for your guys' feedback, your thoughts on, what do you think about it in the first place? Is this something you guys are excited about, or something you kind of go like, nah, I'm not really that excited about?
For sure.
This is just an option of how we want to continue to offer more for the BTF ecosystem.
Gotcha.
Although we've had people ask, technically there's no reason why you couldn't use this in your non-BTF system as well.
Right. How do you actually flex it?
So in theory right now, that should be controlled through firmware or potentially through software. We're thinking actually ideally users might want to have both. So maybe there could be like a physical button where you can press it and it would fold.
Okay.
And also of course being able to do it in software.
Right.
And you could even offer kind of maybe interesting timed experiences, right? So maybe like at one time of the day, it folds out, but then maybe like once it gets to 6 p.m., it kind of folds in.
Kind of blooms and de-blooms. Or maybe like once your CPU hits a certain temperature, it opens up and then it's like a fireplace or something. That'd be kind of sick.
I don't know exactly if fire.
Maybe not fire in the PC.
Yes. But overall, let us know what your guys' thoughts are. I think it's a pretty cool design.
Very cool.
And like I said, if you see anything, probably at earliest, probably sometime in maybe mid of 2025.
Okay, sweet.
This is the new type of CAM2 DRAM technology design.
Okay.
So if you guys are not familiar with CAM2, this was actually first and foremost designed for laptops.
Right.
So of course in laptops you have very limited Z height, so there's not a lot of space to fit something in.
Yeah.
Here we're kind of testing the waters to see what it would look like on a desktop motherboard.
Sure.
In theory, the main benefit that you have with CAM on, let's say, compared to a traditional DRAM design would be lower latency. There is something called a PMIC, which is actually going to be the voltage regulation. Here, this is actually a 48 gigabyte DIMM in a single module that has one PMIC, as opposed to that in a, of course, traditional DRAM configuration, you have two DIMMs with two PMICs.
Right.
So what that actually translates to is going to be less latency.
Of course.
So how much improvement that is going to be, it's still kind of TBD to see how much you would see from a performance benefit.
Yeah.
We are excited to show that it is a very performant technology. You can actually see right here on the screen, it is running at 8,000 MT at some very impressive latency.
Oh yeah.
So you can see that this is just as good as what is possible from the traditional DRAM side.
Right.
But I think the bigger question would be, where do we see the totality of the value in a motherboard? Maybe is this more advantageous like on a mini ITX?
Sure.
Because we're saving space, maybe you could put bigger coolers, maybe have less obstructions, more cable routing path, right? Is it maybe something we would only do like on a custom model like an Apex, really designed kind of for overclockers? Because I think a lot of traditional users love the fact of so much choice, so much RGB, heatsink customization, and also easier installation. Right now, if you notice, there are 5 screws that you have to have there, and there are also pins underneath that.
I see.
This is almost like installing a CPU.
Right.
Where you got pins underneath, and then you have a pad.
Yeah.
So there is actually a little bit of a concern that you could damage it in the same way that you can kind of mess up your pins on your CPU socket.
I see.
So let us know what your thoughts are, guys, on whether you're excited about CAM or you're happy with kind of the current offering, which I can tell you, I can't give you numbers.
Yeah.
But we're very excited for DDR5 for next generation platforms. It's already awesome, but it's only going to get better. Now moving over to something that will be more likely to actually be able to be something that you could purchase, although this is still a design, a kind of a concept here, is going to be our Z22 chassis.
Okay.
So what we're doing here is actually taking the benefits of BTF and really highlighting that beautiful kind of GPU focus that you have. So you can actually notice right there, the actual GPU is front and center. It can be actually removed and inserted quite easily with actually a quick ejection mechanism that you have on that side. Now this won't be limited to just BTF-based graphics cards. You could use a non-BTF-based system. Sure. And then in the inside right here, the guts, this is essentially your chassis. So this is a mini ITX-based motherboard, your normal power supply. Then of course you have your cooling solution here, like a 240 millimeter, 360 millimeter AIO. This is actually going to be like a funnel which brings in air into the system to keep it cool. 3 individual compartments there from the cooling performance side. So overall a pretty interesting design. You will have actually also flexibility of how you can orientate this. So if you wanted to remove this actually deflection tunnel right here, you could actually have the unit be entirely flat. Or you could also go entirely vertical as well. So it gives you a lot of flexibility in terms of how you could approach the overall design.
Gotcha.
And I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a teaser for next gen GPU design. I've seen the next gen Strix cards and they look good.
Oh snap! You tease you. Wait, sorry if I missed it. Is the mini ITX motherboard BTF?
So
it's just the GPU, right?
So that's a really great question.
Okay.
Mini ITX boards are too small to have the auxiliary connector.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So what we did is we actually have developed a special adapter.
Right.
So the adapter will actually allow you to use then the BTF card with mini ITX.
Very nice.
What that means is, of course, this is a full Asus ecosystem.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to use a competitor's motherboard, you could use a competitor's motherboard.
Sure.
So it is going to increase flexibility. And I will tell you, for those that are wondering, we are maybe working on an enhancement to the BTF connector on the graphics card.
Okay.
What that would mean and what it will do for you guys, I can't tell you now.
Of course.
I'm telling you that we are working on it.
Just more teases, dude. More teases coming from you.
So
all right,
overall,
beautiful.
Pretty cool addition right there.
Very nice.
And this guy is, I know it started as April Fool's.
Yeah.
But it's not April Fool's. This is the Mjolnir.
Really? This is a functional unit?
This is a functional unit.
No
this
way.
is kind of DVT.
Yeah.
But the main reason why we designed to develop this is we did a lot of feedback from the community, and a lot of people, once they spend about like $2,000 on a build, they start kind of wanting to make sure that they're protecting their systems.
Of course.
You know, surge, spikes, sags, brownouts, things like that. So this unit is essentially a UPS.
Yeah.
Will give you confidence that if something happens, you're protecting your hardware.
Okay.
But also, if your power went off, you can now be able to save your documents, right? You don't have to hard have your system shut off.
Yep.
Plus, you get the benefits of AC power support. You can connect different types of accessories. You can also use this as a digital nomad. Power up your laptop, your gaming hardware.
Sure.
You know, your blow dryer.
Sure.
100-watt USB-C, right? Wattage display. And of course, when the power goes out, you don't have to reach for your phone anymore because you can go ahead and take the handle and you can use the flashlight.
That's pretty cool. Very nice.
And the top base is also Qi wireless charging 2.0 spec.
Oh, nice.
So you do have high wattage charging. And we also think it's probably maybe the coolest looking UPS on the market.
Hands down.
Next up, we're now adding the Extreme moniker to our peripherals. If you guys know Asus and ROG, you know Extreme is pretty much our flagship series kind of designation for products.
Yep.
So we are now going to be releasing the Azoth Extreme and also the Harpe Extreme, which we're going to show you in a little bit.
Okay.
So what did we do to already level up the Azoth, which was already an outstanding mechanical gaming keyboard?
Yeah.
Well, we pretty much took every single aspect and just kind of went to the next level. So one big addition is that we added in a carbon fiber positioning plate.
Okay.
The main reason why we went carbon fiber is it's an ultra premium material. It has really good resonance performance in terms of its sound signature, and it also has good flexibility while maintaining very, very good strength.
For sure.
Okay? Now, it didn't stop there. What we also did is combining in with all that sound dampening material and the carbon fiber plate, something very unique in the industry, which is we integrated what's called a leaf spring based design.
Okay.
So you're going to see these leaf springs on the corners.
Yeah.
Now, traditionally, when a user would maybe custom build a keyboard with these springs, one challenge is that they have to torque the springs down, and it can be inconsistent because not a lot of people have a torque screwdriver.
Right.
So what we did is we actually implemented a mechanism, and we'll show you on another model. Let me see if I can do full B-roll. That if I take this Azoth and I take this little guy right here and I pop this off, you will see that there's a switch. When you move this switch, this will actually move all of the these detents
Oh, no way.
to either a hard or soft positioning.
Oh.
So you're going to change the Z height.
Right.
So imagine all of these plates now
Right.
all of a sudden having a different contact point.
Yeah.
And what happens there is that if you want a more rigid kind of high-speed actuation experience,
Sure.
you would go to one point.
Whoa.
If you want more of a bouncy feel,
Yeah.
right, then you can switch the other. Now, normally this has been impossible to have essentially a dynamic switch like this.
Yeah.
Where you pretty much had to build a keyboard for one or the other.
Exactly.
But now you essentially have both keyboards
Right.
just at the flip of a switch.
It's like having adjustable shocks in your car.
Yep, exactly.
That's very cool.
Very, very exciting. Now, some other things that we went ahead and did with this model, really beautiful finishing, but now we're going to a full CNC, of course, body. So the top metal, then we have more metal, and then the entire base is also
Beautiful.
metal.
Yeah.
But to maintain ultra-high RF performance, we
Yeah.
then still mill out this channel because this unit now will have 8K wired and wireless pulling performance.
Oh, nice.
There is no other keyboard on the market
Wow.
that is in a custom space that will offer that level of
For sure.
We then have magnetic two sets.
Okay.
So one is at 1Z height and one is even at a more aggressive Z height.
Yep.
If you want to be able to make adjustments to that.
Very nice.
Of course, integrated RF adapter that you have. Still tri-mode, so you can go wired, wireless, or Bluetooth.
Yeah.
You still also have OSX support on this guy as well.
Okay.
And for the touchscreen, that's right, I said touchscreen because it's not touchscreen anymore compared to the prior model, which was not touch. This
Right.
is now a full color touchscreen on there as well.
Wow.
So a lot of improvements that we're going to have from these on. And this,
Excellent.
I'm happy to say, is not concept or prototype. This is pretty much the final sample, and it will be shipping in Q3. It will be coming in at $500.
Okay.
So about twice the price of the current Azoth.
Yeah.
But if we account for everything that we're doing, we actually think it is a very strong value play. And unquestionably, there is no other really even DIY premium keyboard that will offer the true enthusiast gaming grade specs of
Yeah.
the 8K polling, right, for wired or wireless, onboard memory profiling, the customization, all of these other things that we've baked in. And just so you guys see, it does also come included with this ultra premium silicone wrist rest, which also has a weighted metal base as well.
Beautiful.
So you don't have to use that, but it will come inside the box. And if you were just wondering, you can see the Z height where I was talking about.
Oh, yeah.
So that is one. And go back over here, so you can see the difference.
Aha.
You'll have both included, so it's up to you to kind of use the one that you prefer. Keeping with the Extreme moniker,
Yep.
we now have right here, this is going to be the Harpe Extreme. So we already had the Harpe, that was a really impressive mouse already, 54 grams,
Yeah.
outstanding sensor, great build quality. Now we just kind of went crazy. This is going to be 47 grams, and
Wow.
this is going to be full carbon fiber in terms
Oh my
of the
God.
shot. If you feel the finishing quality on here, we're super proud of this. We actually have to hand
Wow.
match the actual weave pattern, where you can actually see right here that they're consistent between both the left and right hand switches.
Right.
What this actually means is that each Harpe Extreme will be unique.
Okay.
So every single user, because when we actually take the carbon fiber textile weave and then we actually rotary cut it out, we actually have to go through a special process, apply the UV coating, match everything up.
Wow.
So it's a quite laborious process, but it really does allow for an outstanding level of not only performance in terms of this ultra lightweight design, great tactility and feel compared to even some like metal options that are on the market, where some people are a little bit more divisive about the feeling of metal over time.
Sure.
Where this just inherently has a more comfortable, natural feel to it. And the build quality is outstanding in terms of just keeping really good rigidity.
Excellent.
In addition to that, if you flip it over, you'll notice something pretty cool. This is actually going to ship with Corning Gorilla Glass skates.
Ooh.
So we will actually offer 3 sets of skates.
Yeah.
Corning Gorilla Glass, and then 2 sets of PTFE-based skates.
Okay.
Because you only want to use Corning Gorilla Glass like on a weave type
Right.
of surface.
Right.
But if you've got like a glass gaming surface or like a ceramic gaming surface,
Sure.
you do not want to use this.
Right.
You would want to use the PTFE type feet. So here's an example
Gotcha.
of the PTFE feet.
Yep.
You will get 3 sets. You'll get 2 sets of PTFE with another one shaped just like these,
Oh, okay.
broader design.
Yeah.
Which sometimes, depending on like your tracking movement, you might prefer.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
You still also get tri-mode, which is a rarity in the ultralight segment, and even that RGB is actually a rarity in the ultralight segment. But
Yeah.
it does serve function, not just a flex. It will actually even show you battery life. So
Oh, cool.
when you get down to like 20%,
Nice.
the battery goes off and lets you know.
Very nice.
5 onboard memory profiles, and you're good to go. So that is going to be the Harpe screen. Coming in also Q3, $250.
Okay.
And the hat trick at the end there, it is going to be 8K wired and wireless on top of that.
Very nice.
42,000 DPI sensor, the best sensor in the industry.
It doesn't even feel like I'm holding anything right now.
Yeah, but
in a good way.
If you kind of crank on it, you still will feel just
it's so rigid, yeah.
even though it's ultra light.
It's insane. Very cool.
For displays, really 2024 has definitely been the year of OLEDs.
Yeah.
So this is just an exciting update that we have. It just got released actually on pretty much Friday, the end of the month, so the 30th, it officially launched. But this is going to be our first XG series monitor.
Okay.
So a lot of gamers are definitely familiar with the ROG Swift series.
Right.
So those have always been our flagship gaming series. But we were excited about offering, essentially at a much lower price point, a lot of the ROG-derived features, functions, and performance.
Sure.
So this is going to be the XG27 AQDMG. This is actually the first true glossy base, 1440p, 240 hertz OLED-based display.
Very nice.
Now there have been some other options in the marketplace, like Dove, who have had a quote-unquote glossy-based panel.
Yeah.
But they do it through actually a process of layering a top cover on top of an actual panel.
Okay.
Here we directly worked with LGD to make a native WOLED-based solution.
Nice.
And you get all, of course, the great benefits, great contrast, outstanding motion clarity, low pixel response, all that beautiful stuff. But I think the really amazing thing is the launch price that we have in the US is $699.
Yeah.
And even after the promo pricing, $750.
Wow.
So a really outstanding honor if you've been wanting to get into OLED. It's a great choice. Getting that beautiful image quality.
Yeah.
I will note though, of course, it being a true glossy display, still be mindful of the ambient lighting environment.
Sure.
Because since you don't have that AR, right, you aren't going to necessarily be handling, reflections to the same degree that you would have with AR. So we will continue to offer both options.
Yeah.
But we'd love to see people's feedback if this is something they're really excited about, and we can continue to develop. You'll also notice we tweaked the base on this model. It's just like all our other XG series. So instead of that wider metal base, it is a plastic base.
Sure.
It is also cool. It does have a little actually cut out there for you to also put your phone.
Gotcha.
Right? You also still have the threaded mount on the back if you want to put like a camera, a mic, a light, things along those lines from an accessory perspective. Very cool. The reason why we want to kind of wrap up on this side, we just want to show, we showed a huge amount of ROG. We want to show just a little bit of some other stuff.
Sure.
This is one really exciting update. ProArt has already been really well adopted for a lot of people in smaller form factor builds, micro form factor builds, because it's only 2.5 slot, and it had a very conservative length of no more than 300 millimeters.
Yeah.
But as some of you guys have seen, NVIDIA made an announcement in terms of a small form factor guideline. Asus already had actually been in the industry with ProArt and dual series cards. And we're also introducing an entirely new series of graphics cards here at Computex, and that will be with our new Prime series. Okay. So our Prime series will actually be a target MSRP-based model. So it'll be at the same price point as our dual series, but it'll be actually a 3-fan-based solution, but still very compact. So still 2.5 slot, 269 millimeters. So you'll be very friendly to be able to put in something like here, a micro ATX, or even in mini ITX-based chassis. Right. And we'll be offering this in currently up to 3 different configurations, up to the 4070 series. Now there is consideration right now to also, like ProArt, go into maybe even a higher GPU. Sure. But we're right now just putting out the Prime series to the market. So let us know, are you excited about now us offering essentially now this new edition, because it's getting to be a lot of graphics cards in our lineup. Sorry, when are these going to come out? So Prime series will be shipping hopefully starting maybe next month. Okay, wow. Yeah, so Q3 very nice. We will be launching the Prime series. Sweet. And right now they will only tentatively be launching in black, but we do know that a lot of people have loved like that the dual models have been offered in both black and white. Yeah. So we are definitely open to offering Prime series within white, especially because it matches up with a lot of our Prime series motherboards. Right. And other Prime chassis, like you can get the AP201 in white. And a little teaser, we have an upcoming really awesome white Prime series chassis. Nice. Which actually will have some very cool stuff that I can't tell you about. But stay tuned for it. All right, cool. All right, guys, that's going to conclude it for my coverage of Asus. Well, rather like JJ's coverage of Asus here at Computex 2024. Thank you, JJ. Always a pleasure seeing you, man. Pleasure, man. And let us know. Yes. Drop in the comments what your thoughts are, what you were excited about, what you would like to see in terms of features, functions, design. I'll be checking them out, man. But thank you guys for checking it out. Thanks, guys. See you in the next one.